and welcome to Women in Retail Talks. I'm Marie Albajez, the Senior Editor of Women in Retail Leadership Circle. Today I'm joined by Jessica Hirschfield, the co-founder and CEO of Just Enough Wines, a San Francisco-based startup focused on high-quality, great-tasting wine in a can. In this episode, we discuss Jessica's ambitious transition from the tech industry into wine, what Just Enough Wine's sustainability standards look like, and how Jessica is trying to disrupt the wine industry. Jessica, I'm so excited to speak with you today about our mutual love for good wine. So welcome.
Thank you. I'm excited to speak with you as well.
So first, let's just start with the basics. Why canned wine?
Yeah, so I started this company in early 2020, and I had just left my last tech role, and I was doing some soul searching into what I wanted to do. I had the itch to start my own thing, and landed on wine as something that I've always had a passion for as a consumer. I've always loved the ubiquitous nature of wine, being able to have it as your fancy wine and food pairing, but also have it be your transition from work to leisure on your random Tuesday. So wine is something that I really wanted to dive into. And then in wine, I was looking for a use case that I had for myself, which was basically I'd open a bottle and end up going to dinner or going about my life, and the wine would go bad and wasting it a few days later, or drink too much of that bottle and feel bad the next day. So I wanted the more practical serving size. And the can really gives that to you with the glass and a half serving, which was the ideal size for what I was looking for. And then in addition to the serving size, a can gets you a lot of other added benefits that you might not get from the bottle. It's much more environmentally friendly. It's way more portable. You can pack it in your bag and go hiking or whatever you want to do. And it gets you places where you wouldn't want to bring glass, whether that's not wanting to bring the glasses and the bottle openers, but then also, being able to take it to the grass or to the beach and not worry about having glass in those locations.
So how difficult was it to kind of bring the canned idea into an industry that is very, very old, right? And traditionally drunk with glasses and like almost a classier version. So what was it like kind of breaking into that mold with the canned idea?
Yeah, and we're not the first to bring canned wine into the industry. And you're right, it is a super antiquated industry and very old school. We were not the first. Cans have been around from a wine perspective for a couple of years now. But what I do think is happening, and we're seeing a shift, is we do get a lot of feedback from some really situated wine drinkers that canned wine is never going to work. But what we're also seeing is that the transition to wine drinkers being millennials is they want a different option. They want a more environmentally friendly package. They want a more a smaller alcohol percentage package as well. And so as we transition into the bulk of the people buying wine as being millennials, more and more of the wine industry is seeing that as a really positive experience.
So are millennials pretty much like your target consumer for this?
Yeah, it tends to be an older millennial. Basically myself, it's like people that are in their like early to mid 30s or, late 30s are starting to have children, and they want to be able to, bring this with them on the go. They tend to be in the tier 1 cities and kind of have the expendable income to spend on a premium product. But that tends to be our target demographic right now.
Yeah. And it seems like more and more that generation, my generation as well, is we're hearing a lot about how they value products that are sourced and packaged sustainably. So obviously you had that in mind when you were trying to cater to this audience. So what does that look like for you, the sustainably sourced and packaged?
Yeah. So we go about it in many different ways. So as I mentioned, the cans are much more environmentally friendly than the glass bottle, which was really interesting actually when I started this company and doing a lot of research into it. The glass bottle is actually the largest contributor to the carbon footprint of wine, just because of, one, the transportation costs on the environment of the glass, whether it's packing material that go into protecting the glass, but also the sheer weight of the glass is really heavy, shipping it to the winery and then to the consumer, adds a lot to the environment. But also glass is actually very hard to recycle in many locations. There's different regulations around how they recycle, and glass typically is much more difficult to recycle than aluminum on the flip side, which is much more recyclable. It's the most commonly recycled material in the world. It can be recycled within 60 days, which is really fascinating, and can be recycled over and over and over again. So the aluminum can gives you that more sustainable option from wine in general. We then go about it by we source all of our wine from sustainably sourced vineyards and try to find winemaking practices that are sustainably focused as well. And then we donate 1% of our profits to environmentally friendly nonprofits. Last year, we partnered with Cal State Parks, really bringing it home. We're based out of San Francisco, so really trying to bring a holistic approach to how we are consuming a beverage that we all love.
So what does that mean, like sustainably sourced vineyards? What does that look like? Does it mean like no pesticides, no chemicals?
Yeah, exactly. So basically they're doing the best that they can to have a sustainable mindset when it comes to making sure that they're keeping the environment as safe as possible when it comes to growing the grapes.
So I'm curious, I feel like the wine industry, not only is it, like you said, antiquated and very old and goes back, years and years, but it's traditionally, I'm guessing, been pretty male dominated. And you probably discovered that going into it with just a love of wine. So how did you kind of break into that, and how did that influence your decision to go into this as a woman?
Yeah, it is typically male dominated. And, I came from an industry in tech that was also male dominated. And I think for me, I guess I'll say two things about that. One is I think when it comes to being a woman in any industry, I really had to figure out how to fight this quote unquote imposter syndrome of I can't do it and I shouldn't do it, or I'm not worthy of doing it. And I don't think I was in a place to start a company until more recently to be able to do that. And so I think I really learned more to be confident in myself, that it doesn't matter what I look like to start this business. And really, not worry about kind of the stigma that comes with it as well. Then on the flip side, yes, the wine industry is super antiquated and tends to be male dominated, but it's also an industry built around bringing people together. Wine is all about being a community and coming to the table and really enjoying that glass of wine together. And you do see that in the wine industry. And often when I was starting this business, I would just reach out to people and say, hey, can I jump on the phone with you for half an hour and just pick your brain about how to do this? I have no idea about how to make wine, but can you help me? And the wine industry as a whole has been really receptive to that and really willing to jump on the phone and talk to you and walk you through how to go about doing it.
Yeah. So yeah, you were probably one of the only females in the room in the tech industry. And now, having to do this in this industry, you talk about imposter syndrome. I mean, you said, you weren't really in a good place to be able to conquer that until recently. So what did you do to be able to conquer that? And do you still feel like you have a bit of imposter syndrome?
Yeah, I don't think that ever goes away. And I think it's something that people battle with, whether they're female or male. And I think for me, I've done a lot of therapy. I've done a lot of, growth in myself, a lot of recognition of who I am as myself. I hired an executive coach. I really did focus on the things to make myself feel the most confident and truly believe in my own worth. And not necessarily need to get that from the outside perspective, which has really helped me grow into, I think, the entrepreneur that I am today. And I think it's really hard, and it's something that people battle with all the time. And I think it's okay. And I think it's okay to recognize that that's something that you're going to be facing at all times. But just to be able to know that you are confident in your abilities is something that's really helped me move the business forward.
So knowing all of that, what did it look like when you were starting to build your team and kind of gather your resources?
Yeah, I am so fortunate. I have a wonderful team and I have a badass co-founder, which has truly changed. I don't know how people start businesses on their own. It's really hard. But being an entrepreneur has a lot of highs and lows, and having someone that you can really bounce ideas off of is I think is critical. My team basically kind of came together because everyone was super passionate about the idea that we were building, and everyone loves wine, but also everyone loved kind of the concept of breaking into an industry that is very antiquated and building a new brand around that. And so we have, our team members are all very like-minded. And my co-founder and I sat down when we first started the business and really proactively spent months thinking about what the brand is going to look like, from all the packaging, but also what are our true core values and what does that mean to us? And then that translated into the people that we hired and the people that we brought on. And I think it's been really important to us to have that kind of thought process along the way.
Now, you were doing all of that during the pandemic, right? You said you launched in early 2020. So I'm guessing you guys are all, or started at least, all remote. What difficulties did you come across when doing that, in 2020?
Yeah, it's interesting because I don't know this company without the pandemic, to be totally honest. And I think the pandemic has had some difficulties in, as you said, being remote is hard, but it also allowed us to find talent from all over the country, which has been really nice. My co-founder's in Houston full time. So I think it allows you to pull from different places. I think also the pandemic for us, and for me, I traveled like a crazy person before the pandemic started, and really forcing myself to sit down and, be inside, and really allowed me to really focus on the business full time, which was really nice because I was able to dive in head first and really build the business from the ground up, which was really great. I think from a business standpoint, there was twofold to the pandemic. One is we lost a really big avenue for canned beverages, which is events. People want to go out and if they're on the park or at a festival, cans are really great for that. We lost that line of the business, but also people started to drink more and drink more at home. And they also, cans are a more COVID friendly choice. So if you're going for a walk outside and you want to meet a friend, socially distance, having a can to go was a really benefit to us as well. So there's a lot of pros and cons to the pandemic. I think, also just like emotionally, it's very hard to not be able to come together and build a company together. But it's been a learning experience for us for sure.
Yeah. I know when we were first trying to get you on the podcast, you were really busy because you were, it was harvest time.
Yeah.
And I'm so curious as to what that means exactly, if you can give us like an insider's look.
Yeah. It's been really fun. So when we started the business, most of our wine actually we purchase in bulk. And basically what that means is we go out to winery partners and purchase wine from them. This is the first time that we're actually purchasing grapes and going through an actual harvest, which means that we will pick the grapes and then go through the fermentation process. And I knew that winemaking was obviously nuanced and very difficult, but I didn't know how physically time consuming and hard it was. And there's a really critical period of a couple of weeks where the wine is going through fermentation and needs to be really monitored and very scientifically tracked, which I never recognized. And so we did that for the first time this year and purchased some grapes and went through the whole fermentation process and just barreled it actually this week. So it's I think it really makes me kind of value the wine industry people so much more, actually doing it myself and really appreciating, wine is a farmed good. And then it requires a lot of hands-on processes. And I think it really makes you appreciate the bottle or can that you're going to drink more.
So if you just barreled it, when can we drink the wine that you just barreled?
Yeah, this one's a red, so it's probably going to sit in barrel for 11 to 13-ish months. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, we won't release this one till 2023, which is kind of crazy. Coming from the tech industry, wine certainly tests your patience, and it's really forced me to really slow down and appreciate the journey, because it's not something that you can force to go quickly. It takes time and is a long process.
Yeah, it's like contradictory to our millennial thought process, right?
Totally. Yeah. I mean, I come from a world where it's like everything should have been done yesterday, and this is like, really need to think about what's going to happen in the next year and a half, and really forecast that is a very interesting test of my abilities.
Right. So you said that you were dreading going back to work and trying to figure out like how to turn this passion into something more. And I'm wondering what advice you have for other women who are maybe feeling the same way, who are like, stuck in a job that they're not happy with and they want to turn their passion into something more.
Yeah, I worked in big tech for many years after graduation, and I just never felt that I was super fulfilled in the work that I was doing. And you spend most of your life at the job that you're doing. And so I really wanted to find something that brought me joy every single day. And I know that I was in a very privileged situation to be able to leave my job and start this business full time. But I also really do feel like it's so important for us to be confident in we will find something that we love to do every day. And for me, I think the best advice that I got, whether it was starting my own business or leaving the job, was just take one step every day towards that, whether it's, having that first conversation with your manager, or for me, starting the business, like filing for the LLC, or, making my website, like just take one step every day towards what you're trying to do. You'll eventually get to that like running point of what you want to do. But I think it's like, for me, just super important to pay attention to how you're feeling. And if you're unhappy in the work that you're doing, it's not worth it, and we spend so much time at work every single day that it's so important to find something that you do enjoy doing, whether that's working for a different company that aligns with your passions or your values, or, starting your own thing on the side and then growing that into something bigger. I think it's important to be able to feel comfortable rocking the boat and taking a step and taking a leap to the change.
Yeah, well said.
Yeah.
So what's next for Just Enough?
We just actually celebrated our 1-year anniversary yesterday of launching the product. And, we spent the last year really learning a lot about our consumer, learning how to put wine into the can, and just kind of learn that whole process. And for us now, it's a stage of hyper growth. We're going to expand to new locations, new states. We'll keep our core varietals that we have with our core product offering, but really try to grow where we're offering them.
And right now, where are you offering them right now? Where can someone find the wine?
Yeah, so we, from a direct-to-consumer perspective, we deliver to a handful of states. We're in California, Oregon, Texas, Florida, Arizona, and Michigan. And then from a retail perspective, you can see on our website, if you go to justenoughwines.com, we have all the locations that we're at from a retail perspective, and we're in a bunch in California and starting to grow our presence in Florida.
Okay, so getting those grocery store chains to come on board with you guys is probably the next step, right?
Yeah. I mean, alcohol is challenging, and different states have different laws about how you can distribute and self-distribute versus not. And so we're, really focused on finding the right retail partners for us, but then also finding the right distributor partners for us in the states that we want to grow in, and find the right brand that wants to grow our brand with us.
Great. And for people listening, what is the website where they can get ordered?
It's called justenoughwines.com. Yeah.
Great. Well, selfishly, I hope that you guys put Pennsylvania on your list, because that's where I am. I'd love to try it.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for joining me, and best of luck with everything.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for listening. For more information on this podcast, please check out our podcast channel page at womeninretail.com/podcasts for show notes. Women in Retail Talks is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and Spotify. Make sure to subscribe on our podcast channel page as well. If you enjoyed this episode, please take a few minutes to rate and review this podcast. Thanks, and until next time, this has been Women in Retail Talk.